Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Riches. Tonight we report on easy riding, a motorcycle journey from John O'Groats to Land's End, and I'll be talking to Brian Duke. But first, here are the news headlines with Richard Morris.
Hello, in the headlines today, people are solving riddles in the marshes of Lincolnshire and Councillor Alex Baxter is featured on BBC Radio 1. The areas of Hull and Grimsby will be left with no ice rinks for the next 6 weeks. The ice rink in Hull will close on Friday and will not reopen until the 1st of September. On Tuesday, the 22nd of July next week, the North East Lincolnshire Council will hold a special cabinet meeting to discuss how best to proceed with the unexpected closure of the Grimsby ice rink. Unemployment in the region remains among the highest in the country, despite statistics yesterday showing a 0.6% drop in the unemployment rate. The labour market stats for March to May show the rate is 7.9% in the Yorkshire and Humber. Only the North East has a higher rate of unemployment. However, it does show a 0.6% drop on the previous 3 months and 1.1% drop on the same period a year ago.
The registers continue to drop, which has got to be good news. As I say, in the local area, if I look year on year, they've dropped almost 25%. The numbers that were claiming job seekers allowance last year in Grimsby, it's 1,500 less than it is now. That's got to be encouraging to people. And as I say, we continue to help anybody who comes through our doors for our services.
Taking a walk in the grazing marshes of Lincolnshire could now net you with a gold bar. It's part of the Riddle of the Marshes, a lottery-funded initiative which sees people trying to solve a riddle by walking around the less visited sites in Lincolnshire. If you manage to solve the riddle, you win a gold ingot the size of a credit card with an estimated value of £9,000. We spoke to the brains behind the riddle about the popularity of the initiative.
The Riddle of the Marshes, as I say, is a way in which I've been able to pull together the extra bits of information that haven't gone into our walk leaflets or on our website, or the interpretation panels which we've recently installed in the area, which talk about the project and the landscape and this part of Lincolnshire. We've sold packs to Bangkok, Canada and Milan, as well as the Netherlands. And just in my role being out in the marshes, I'm bumping into people from Leicester and Nottinghamshire who are visiting these rural churches, taking part in the riddle and theming long weekends around it.
The hospitals in Goole, Grimsby and Scunthorpe are expected to come out of special measures after a Care Quality Commission inspection back in April. The Trust has moved from its previous rating to requires improvement. Monitor, the regulator which placed the special measures on the Trust's licence, will now consider lifting its conditions. Immingham Swimming Pool will receive its biggest overhaul since opening in 1970. There will be a small extension which will allow for a bigger gym and a unisex changing village for swimming pool users. The plan is that the new refurbishments will help energy efficiency and also the customer experience at the pool. Preparations are underway for this week's 38th Cleethorpes Carnival Parade. The fleet of floats will set off from Sydney Park tomorrow and make its way to Meridian Park. Estuary TV will be among those joining the parade, so as first-timers, we asked organiser Leana Pridgen for her top tips for tomorrow's show.
Always take a bucket on board, take a step ladder on board and a pack of bin bags. If it starts to rain, just spit them open and pop them over the children's heads.
And finally, he only took office in May, but the Mayor of North East Lincolnshire is already well known in the area. However, challengers on Radio 1's Mayor from Where feature might not find it so easy to identify Councillor Alex Baxter. He's being interviewed today by presenter Greg James, who will get to ask him a series of questions and then have to guess where he's from, as the title suggests. The Mayor said he's keen to do anything that will raise the profile of the town.
Alex?
Well, I've come across Greg James by a series of emails over the last month, and I'm pleased to say that having seen a short episode, I'm delighted to be part of this. This is a fun episode and something which, again, in my role as the first citizen, will promote the borough. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we're not at the end of the earth. We're actually a vibrant community with good engineering, good commercial skills.
If you have a story for us, please email news@estuary.tv or pick up the phone and call 01472 315 561. You can also tweet us at Estuary TV or search us on Facebook. That's all from me. Goodbye.
Sharon Allen is in remission from breast cancer. During her illness, she was so impressed by Macmillan Cancer Care that she's decided to raise money for the charity by making an epic motorbike journey the length of Great Britain. James Dunn revs his engine.
Sharon Allen's no stranger to danger. When she's finished working at the hospital, she likes nothing more than to put on her leathers and cruise the open road on her Harley Davidson.
I've had a bike licence for 19 years. I've had a lot of bikes, and I just like the freedom that it gives you, and it's something a little bit different for a girl to ride a bike.
But 18 months ago, she faced something a little harder to handle when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Luckily, Macmillan were there to help.
It was someone that you could go and talk to, and they would sit and listen, and they were there when you needed them. If it was just to ask a silly question, it didn't matter. They were just lovely.
Sharon beat the disease and is currently in remission, so at the moment everything's running smoothly. But now she's gearing up for a new challenge.
When I was poorly, having the radiotherapy, I needed something to focus on. My husband's also into bikes, so we talked it through together and we decided that we'd do a challenge, a run, and we'd do it from John O'Groats to Land's End, and we would do it for Macmillan, just to give something back.
The journey is more than 870 miles, and they're doing it in less than 24 hours. But overall, they'll ride more than double that, as they have to ride out from their home in Kilby, then back from Land's End.
I wanted to do it last year, but I was just too tired to do it. But this year I feel a lot stronger, and it will test my stamina, but I'm hoping the adrenaline's going to kick in.
But compared to what Sharon's already overcome, it's a drop in the ocean.
It's nothing, and it will prove to people out there that you can do what you used to do before. You just need to try a bit harder.
James Dunn, Estuary TV News.
Immingham is one of the busiest ports by dry tonnage in the country. The town has been important to shipping since the embarkation there of the Mayflower in 1608. Now to reveal some more of its secrets with the Showcase of Immingham, I'm joined by Brian Duke. Brian, many thanks for coming along.
You're welcome.
Before we start, you better establish your own credentials as a citizen and burgher of Immingham.
Yes, well, I'm a past mayor last year, and I'm representing the current mayor here today because he's unavailable.
And you're representing the Showcase Immingham event.
That's right, yes, I'm one of the committee members.
And what is the event? What is Showcase Immingham?
The event is to show what is on offer in Immingham to all the people in Immingham and the surrounding area. There are going to be displays, tabletop displays, there are going to be events, there are going to be community groups doing things. For example, the community choir will be singing and so on.
And Immingham is a town with a fascinating, perhaps rather underestimated history and present. I mentioned that it's one of the busiest ports in the country. It's vital to the whole nation's economy, really, isn't it?
It is, and it's the biggest by tonnage, of course, in the country, so it's the top of the league, really. Yeah.
And it has, it's quite a small town for a big port, and it has, I think, looking through the brochure for Showcasing Immingham, there are about sort of 40 or 50 organisations presenting activities and sponsoring it.
That's right, there is a list of organisations in the back of the programme, which is a souvenir programme, by the way, which you can purchase for £2. At the moment, you can get it from the library and the Civic Centre, and from Saturday and Sunday it will be available at the venues I've mentioned, like the Trinity Methodist Church, St Andrew's Church, Oasis Academy and the library and the Civic Centre.
And what should people see in Immingham that they're not expecting? What will surprise them?
Well, I think what will surprise them is how lovely the place looks. We've just finished the judging for Immingham in Bloom, and we won't get the result until September, but the whole place is looking really wonderful. unfortunately, we have at the same time a construction in progress of the new development for the shopping centre. But that doesn't detract from the overall appearance of Immingham. It's really looking swell.
The town does have a few pretty much absolutely unique features, particularly the tin houses.
Oh yes, the tin bungalow. They were built at the time that the dock was built to accommodate the workforce, and we have just one left.
Have you ever been in it?
Yes.
What does it sound like when it's raining?
I've not been in when it's raining.
It must be like being inside a drum, I'd have
yes,
thought.
but I do know the gentleman who lives there, and he tells me it's like a drum. Yes, and they are pretty cold in winter.
And the other thing is that there's the blue stone, isn't it? The blue stone, the blue rock, is a vast, great big chunk of meteorite.
Yes, it is. And I must admit, I don't know much about that.
It's at the moment, it's a great big rock in a pub car park.
It is.
Fortunately, the pub is also called the Blue Stone, which is a piece of luck, isn't it?
That's right.
We mentioned the maritime history. I mentioned the Mayflower there as well. Just to remind, we think of the Mayflower as maybe sailing from Boston or from London or from South Coast ports. Just fill me in with a story there, where the Mayflower came from in Immingham.
Yes, the Pilgrims actually came out from Gainsborough, near Gainsborough, and walked to Immingham to go from Immingham to Holland in the first place. And at the time that they did that, the vessel they had chartered, unfortunately the captain decided to sail without them, and they came back at a later date and got onto the vessel and went to Holland.
And then of course the rest is history.
And then to America.
Picking up people as they went
right,
around.
yes.
And there's a monument in Immingham to that rather historic.
There is, yes. It used to be in place on Immingham Creek, which is now part of the Dock Estate. So it had to be moved, and is now in what we call Pilgrim Park, which is opposite St Andrew's Church.
You mentioned the Dock Estate. What's the future for seaborne maritime trade in Immingham? There's a certain amount of controversy about sites just close to the edges of Immingham. Able UK and ABP seem to be in some sort of conflict about developing a site for the exploitation of renewable energy.
That's right. That's what you call the Killingholme Triangle. I'm not quite sure what is going on, but I'm quite sure that a compromise would be reached. The way I understand it, the land was owned by ABP. Able UK want to develop it and have put a planning application in, but also ABP want to develop it as well. So I think they need to compromise and just agree on something.
How accessible will the docks be for this event, Showcase Immingham? Would it be possible to see the source of Immingham's wealth, as it were?
Not really, no. We could only do that on an open day at the docks, and then it's organised then for people to go on, but normally no, security wouldn't allow that.
And the docks, of course, what was it, last year, the year before, celebrated 100 years?
Yes, it was 2 years ago, I believe, if I remember rightly. And we have a monument to that effect on the corner of the Civic Hall. It says 100 years, and ABP very kindly, with their 100 years of operation, decided that they would do something special. So they did agree to raise money for the benefit of the community. And they raised in total, if I remember rightly, about £115,000. Some of it was already allocated by them, and the rest was given to our largest community group, which is One Voice, to distribute to people who wish to apply for funds.
Just the Showcase Immingham event coming on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 19th and 20th of July. Is there a website or other source of information that people
There
can
is. It's www.showcaseimmingham.info.
And if people want to know how to get there, where to be, they can just go to that website and
they
have all the
can.
information.
That's right, yes.
Brian, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us today. I'm afraid that's all we have time for tonight. If you have a story for us or you want to get into contact for any other reason, please email news@estuary.tv or contact us via our Twitter or Facebook pages, or pick up the phone and call 01472 31 5561. Until next time, goodbye.